All right, Wuchang. Let's go. Let's take another look at this game. We getting a little bit of deep dive on the gameplay. So let's get into it.
Fate is all set in stone. You can't change how it ends.
I'm not gonna lie to you folks, when I hear the word Soulslike,
Ooh,
my
burger.
eyes start to glaze over and I imagine the sweet release of death. It's the same way I feel when someone says Metroidvania or Rogue.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like now that I'm like, I've been getting more in tune. I mean, I've been in tune since Demon Souls, but like now that I'm really in tune because I'm a content creator, I'm doing gaming content again, like the Soul series. I ain't gonna lie, I'm not tired of it yet. Because every company that I've seen doing it, including FromSoft, they continue to just put out something that just looks cool and fun to play, and is also a challenge. I do like a challenge as a gamer. Granted, I might want to crack my controller and throw it at the wall, but when you win, it's like such a euphoric like release, and it's because you won because you figured it out. And you upped your skill. You got good. I know that's a toxic mentality that a lot of people spread. Like, all you gotta do is just get good, bro. But it really is like that. You gotta get good, bro. That's the MO of these games. Like, you gotta get good.
Roguelike. There's nothing inherently wrong with Souls-likes, Metroidvanias, or roguelikes, for the record. There's just an awful lot of them. I love a good steak, but you can't eat filet mignon every day. Sometimes you need some sushi, a taco plate, hell, even just a burger. A little variety goes a long way. So when I got asked whether I wanted a 1 or 2 hour appointment with Wuchang, Fallen Feathers, I only signed up for an hour, but I was allowed to play for 2, and I'm really glad I did. Wuchang may be a Souls-like, but it's got unique ideas, and by the time I put down my controller, I knew I wanted to see more of what it has to offer.
Yeah, like this look like it go hard. I ain't gonna lie. It look like it go hard. This and Phantom Blaze Zero, I need to hear more from that.
Apart from the jump with its unique art and setting. It takes place in the land of Shu during the latter part of the Ming Dynasty. That single choice sets what I played of Wuchang apart from just about every other Souls-like. Most games in this genre aren't shy about their dark fantasy aspirations. In theory, that should mean everything looks a little different. In reality, that means most games look like Dark Souls, which means that most games really look like Berserk. I like Berserk,
and that's cool, and I love Berserk.
When it looks like everything stepped out of one of Kentaro Miura's panels. Wuchang's dark fantasy,
I love
made
Berserk.
no mistake.
Hold on a second. Berserk Deluxe Edition. This is the first volume. Now, the reason why this one is still wrapped is because I'm trying to collect the whole thing wrapped, and then I'm gonna collect it again, like not wrapped, because well, really just the first edition. I'm gonna keep this one wrapped, and I'm gonna collect the rest like unwrapped, because I actually want to read it and then collect this one wrapped. I never finished Berserk, but yeah. So yeah, he mentioned Berserk, dark fantasy. I love it. So let's put that down. Matter of fact, we gonna let that display right there, right next to my 97 EXT in my Switch 2, right here. And let's get back to the video.
But its setting means a lot of what I saw looks and feels unique and colorful. The story's got an interesting setup too. You play as Wuchang, a pirate with a nasty bout of amnesia. In my demo, she woke up without knowing who she was or what was going on. Unfortunately for her, amnesia might be the least of her problems. You see, Wuchang has contracted a disease known as the feathering. It starts small.
Damn.
Feathers form on your limbs, but as the disease progresses, you lose your memories, go mad, and undergo a, quote, monstrous transformation, unquote. There's no known cure, but that doesn't mean our girl is just gonna lie down. She's
gotta try to find it,
so she's going to look for a cure. The problem is, once most people realize you've contracted the feathering, they'll attack you on sight. It's a neat reason for why just about everyone in Wuchang, though not all, there are plenty of people still willing to help you, will attack you as soon as they see you. And the feathering isn't entirely a curse, it also gives Wuchang access to very powerful magic. Unlike most other Souls games, you don't have to equip or spec into magic for it to be useful. It just is. That's pretty slick. The other big thing Wuchang does is make each of its weapons unique. Each one is different in very subtle ways. The Great Axe in my demo could block, but parrying was a technique that was essentially reserved for a longsword. Other weapons didn't have either ability, opting instead for attack skills to lay on the hurt. And you can't just fire off those skills any time, either. Using them, aside from block and parry, which you always have, provided you've equipped a weapon with them, takes charges, which which you build by pulling off perfect dodges or parries. Nailing perfect dodges and parries also charges your magic. Wuchang.
It looks like they give you a big window for that parry and for that dodge, so this might be a more fast-paced, more forgiving version of the Souls-like games. Like, some people say Lies of P was like easier than Dark Souls and Elden Ring, and to an extent I would say yeah, this looks like it might be even easier than Lies of P, but still difficult. Like, let's not get that fucked up.
Isn't quite as fast as Bloodborne, but it's faster than most Souls-likes and encourages you to be aggressive to build those charges. The dance is still here against bosses, and you shouldn't charge in blindly, but Wuchang is less about waiting for enemies to whiff an attack and punishing them, and more about forcing them to swing at you, building those charges, and then cashing in for big damage, either through weapon abilities, magic, or attacks that deal damage while switching to your other equipped weapons. It's a nice change of pace from traditional Souls-likes, and forces you to take risks to gain access to your best stuff. Even leveling up is its own thing. Instead of dumping points into your core stats, you fill out a skill tree for everything from your weapons to upgrading your flasks. If you want specific stats, you'll get them through the armor you equip. There's no shortage of outfits in Wuchang, from the traditional to the risque, and there's no shortage of
the cheeks out, she got the yams out.
But you're not just playing Fashion Souls or looking at core stats here. You'll always want to make sure you're picking the right resistances. If you're losing to enemies with swords, you might want some slashing resistance. Getting smashed by a big hammer, bludgeoning resistance is the way to go. Magic got you down, get some magic resistance in you. These choices matter, and I appreciate that your gear matters, even if I could have done without some of the fan service. There are still bonfires, here they're shrines, and resting at them, which in Wuchang is known as entering the dream, still respawns any enemies you've defeated. Even that, though, isn't necessarily safe. The first time I entered the dream in my demo, I was attacked by a large bird-like boss. I lost the fight that followed, but when I went back to the dream, the boss wasn't there. I couldn't tell you what the deal with that was.
That's weird.
It was interesting, and I kept wondering when, or if, I would get another shot at him.
No, because, you know, sometimes in these Souls games, like larger enemies, like the elites, like not quite a boss, but it's like an elite type level enemy, they just appear out of nowhere. Like, some of them have fixed locations they appear, and some of them just appear and attack you out of nowhere. Then you go to the bonfire, the save location, wherever you want to call it, whatever you want to call it, and then they just disappear. It's weird. Like, I don't know. Like, it's not like the regular grunts, where the grunts will always be in the same place, and certain elites will always be in the same place. And once you defeat the elites, they won't appear anymore. No, once you defeat the elites, they'll appear again once you respawn, and then some of them don't appear again after you defeat them. So yeah, it's weird. That's that aspect of Souls games I never really understood.
I didn't, but I'm interested in getting another crack at him and figuring out what that stuff is all about. Speaking of bosses, I did get to square off with 3 of them during my time with Wuchang, and none of them corresponded to the big dude in armor stereotype. From Software got that right with Artorias the Abyss Walker, and they...
Yo, that was a fire boss. He looked so cool. I remember him looking mad cool.
Since. Often imitated, never duplicated, as the saying goes. Wuchang isn't interested in sitting down at that table, though. Instead, everyone felt very different. The first was a masked man with a halberd. He definitely had a range advantage on my longsword and
Yo, what is this frame rate, gang?
That was fine with me. I wanted him to swing at me so I could build charges and then use my great axe to lay down the law. This boss took me quite a few attempts, mostly because I'd think I had an opening when I really didn't, and get cooked for trying to attack when it wasn't actually my turn. Once I got his patterns down, though, I was building charges and spending them efficiently, dodging through his attacks and landing big swings of my own. And when I needed to back off, I could cover myself with magic. The second fight was against someone who seemed to have been transformed by the feathering. This was more acrobatic. The boss would leap into the air and attack from range, forcing me to time my dodges to avoid projectiles and keep from committing until I absolutely had to. I didn't find it nearly as hard as the first. It took me just a couple of tries, but I did appreciate the change of pace. The last fight, that last fight. Only one person at the entire event beat the final fight in the Wuchang demo, and I'm sad to say it wasn't me.
Was that me?
While the other 2 fights were all about dodging, this one, against a woman wielding a sword, forced me to parry. Even with the right weapon and good timing, she was a difficult fight. Incredible.
Yeah, I was playing Berserker Kazan demo, and there was this one dude, the dude with the spirits, like he could control spirits or some shit, or he turns into a spirit. It's like kind of in the snowy area, at the end of like the snowy area, bro. Like, he was smoking me because I had to I couldn't do my normal dodge. I'm more of a dodger than a parrier because different games have different parry windows, and it's hard to get used to when you're jumping between games. But I was forced to parry, then attack, parry, then attack. Like it was intense. So those bosses are usually always the hardest.
Incredibly fast, aggressive, and damaging. Every time I tried to back off to heal, she was in my face. Even when I parried her successfully, I had to be careful. I often only had time for a single counterattack before she'd hit me again. It was a brutal fight, and I didn't win, but I appreciated how hard it was, and how I'd had to change my strategy for each boss. I can't wait for another crack at her from the comfort of my couch. And that sums up my feelings with Wuchang as a whole, really. I got a ton of time with it, far more than anything else I played at Summer Game Fest, and I left satisfied with what I'd seen. But I was also excited to see more. Not bad for a Soulslike, right? For more, check out our previews of Invincible Versus
this
and
game will be fire too.
4. And for everything else in the world of Soulslikes, Metroidvanias, roguelikes, and other video games, keep it here at IGN.
Yeah, look at all of this gaming variety, bro. Ain't it beautiful? I'm sorry to come at my dude Stony the Great, but bro, you are just unequivocally wrong. He just named 3 different types of games, bro. Like a roguelike, a Souls-like game, and a fighting game. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's games that didn't even come out yet. There's already a bunch of games out that came out this year, that came out last year, 2023, 2022. Like the last few years have been hitting. There's been hit games, so I don't know if modern gaming sucks, but that's another topic. Y'all could go watch that video if y'all want. But yeah, modern gaming is doing just fine. except on the gaming end. Like on the business end, it's a little fucked up, but on the gaming end, we cool. We cool. There's plenty of games to play. We cool. But yeah, Wuchang, man, I'm liking this, man. It's definitely another entry in the Souls-like genre. You have I'm gonna just call them bonfires. I forgot what they call these things, but yeah, I'm liking the premise of the story. You've been damaged by this disease that causes you to grow feathers out of your limbs, gives you magic powers, but if it develops too much, you turn into a monster, and as the disease develops, you use the memories. So she's trying to go around and look for a cure. But the problem is not everybody's willing to help her. Some people are, some people aren't, because they're used to seeing these creatures as monsters that want to attack them. So, yeah, interesting story, interesting premise. I like that. Gameplay looks fire. Art style looks fire. I like the combination of magic and other abilities you have and the variety of the weapons. I'm sure we have yet to scratch the surface on that. Definitely waiting on this game. Definitely a must cop for me. So yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, all right? So you already know the vibes. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It's your boy JusticeXFalls, and we out. 1.